The brutal honesty when it comes to your healing journey is that you're going to lose a lot of good people. And I know it's a lot of healers, a lot of content creators, spiritualists. They don't really talk about that portion. When you're in a healing journey, you're going to lose genuine people. And I kind of look at it as a necessary punishment. So that way you'll remember how you were. You'll reflect on your behaviors before you were healed, before you started your healing journey. And the truth is this: nobody owes you grace. People who give you grace while you're healing, that's a blessing. Nobody owes you grace. Not even your children, not even your parents, not even your husband, your wife, your best friend. Nobody owes you grace while you act a damn fool because you're unhealed. Your childhood trauma is not your fault, but you remaining broken is. Once you're an adult, it is your responsibility to fix yourself, to heal those broken pieces. And a lot of times when you do your healing work, some people get amnesia. They forget who they were. They forget how poorly they treated people, how they talked to people, the things they did to people. And then now you're washed in the blood of Jesus. You've changed. You know, you got clean from drugs, or you're not a whore anymore. You're not a bad friend anymore. You're not a horrible mother or father anymore. And now you're looking for grace. Now you're looking for forgiveness. People do not owe you grace or forgiveness. You do the healing work for yourself. No one has to allow you to continue to be abusive. They were taking a chance. You coming back to them and saying, hey, I've healed. They will be taking a chance on you because the unhealed version of you is still you. That's part of your journey. Going back and forth and healing and going back to your old habits and healing again, and going back to your old habits and healing again. You have to understand that's traumatic for people who experience those ways about you. So childhood trauma, things that happened to you, certain things in your life may not have been your fault, but you have to take accountability and responsibility for the broken version of you and what you did to people while you were broken. And sometimes the consequence of that is people not fucking with you no more. It doesn't matter if you became a pastor now, or, you know, you became a psychologist. Who cares? A lot of people are dealing with childhood trauma. A lot of people are dealing with pieces of them that were broken. Do you know there's some people who had a horrible childhood and they didn't do half of what you did? There's people who had a worse off childhood than you. There's people who had a worse teenage life. You know, their 20s was trash and they still never broke people. They still never talked to people crazy. This soul was able to fight through and still treat people well despite what they went through. So nobody owes you grace for you to return back into their life. If you fuck somebody over and over again, and you contact them and they don't respond to you, take that L. Take that L. Respect their silence. Respect their peace. Nobody owes you forgiveness. Nobody owes you grace. Even your own children. That is the brutal honesty. That is the consequence of being broken, regardless if it's your fault or not. That during the journey, you might lose good friends, good lovers, good family members, genuine people, strangers you've encountered because you weren't emotionally mature enough. You weren't healed enough to maintain those relationships. And I always tell this story. When I was 20 years old, I met a man who was capable of loving me, but I was broken. I had daddy trauma. And while we were dating, my dad actually died, and that made things even worse. And whatever I couldn't take out on my father, I took out on my partner. I was only 20 years old. That's very young. And now I'm 41. I've never met another man that loved me the way that man did. And sometimes that is your motivation to stay healed. That is your motivation to continue on your healing journey. Sometimes you're never going to meet a certain lover like that again. Sometimes you're never going to have that great friend that you fucked over before, or the family member while you were broken. That is a reminder to never go backwards to the broken version of you. And respect when people do not want to fuck with you. That is all part. That's the ugly portion of your healing journey.